Hello everyone, and a very good afternoon or good morning or good evening to you from us at NAPA here in sunny Helsinki. A very warm welcome to this NAPA webinar, NAPA Stability, the Next Generation Stability Management for Passenger Ships. The webinar will last approximately 1 hour, and the webinar is recorded, so you may access it later or then tell to some of your colleagues to register and watch it. Here with me, I have my colleagues Harri Ikävalko and Mikko Lehto. Harri, please, a few words about yourself, please.
All right, thank you, Jussi. My name is Harri Ikävalko, and I'm working in this NAPA Safety Entity Development section, and I'm a product owner for NAPA Loading Computer, NAPA Emergency Computer, and NAPA Stability.
And Mikko, welcome also. A few words from you.
Thanks, Jussi. Hello, hi, my name is Mikko Lehto, and I'm the lead developer for next generation stability products. And I'm here to present some of our latest achievements in our cloud platform, Fleet Intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mikko. Before going on to the topic, I would like to tell a few words about NAPA for those of you who don't know us that well. Our name, NAPA, comes from Naval Architectural Package, and we are one of the world-leading software solution service and data analysis provider for ship design and operation. We have different solutions in three main areas. First of all, the NAPA Design Solutions, which provide a comprehensive ship design package for different kind of ship design functions. Then for fleet owners, so the NAPA Shipping Solutions package providing performance optimization and analysis services. And then onboard the ship, so we have the stability and safety solutions for the bridge, mainly including ship stability and safety related functions, but also different functions related to monitoring and the ship logbooks. Some numbers about NAPA. We have been on the market for over 30 years. We are around the world represented in 10 different offices. There is approximately 190 of us working at NAPA, and currently there is approximately 12,000 active users for the different NAPA applications. I would like now just to advertise before going on to the topic that there is a short poll going on. So if you go to the polls section of this webinar gem tool, you are then able to answer a question on how long you have been using NAPA Loading Computer. So this is a question in order to know you a little bit better. And please go and answer there, and I will then shortly publish the results. Now, today's webinar, we are going to go shortly about what is NAPA Stability. So a few words to introduce this new solution. And then we will have demonstrations on how NAPA Stability is used on board, but then also how those important stability information can be also viewed on the NAPA Fleet Intelligence cloud-based platform. And then in the end, we will still have time for some questions and answers. Now, before going on to NAPA Stability, so let's have a short look at the results that we have from the poll. And it looks like we have some very experienced audience today. So 30% of you have been using NAPA Loading Computer for more than 10 years or more than 15 years. 15% have been using NAPA Loading Computers from 5 to 10 years. And then for less than 5 years, we have approximately 1/4 of the audience. and then 1/4 of the audience who hasn't used it yet. So we hope that whether you are very experienced in NAPA loading computer or you have just started to use NAPA loading computer, so we hope that you will find also NAPA Stability very interesting and intuitive also in order to solve the issues in your day-to-day stability operations. Now, going on to what is NAPA Stability. So it is NAPA's new stability management solution, and it is especially dedicated to passenger ships. You will be able to see, especially with the new user-friendly interface, where we have put a lot of emphasis together with you as the users of stability solutions on board. However, NAPA Stability is still based on the NAPA's accurate 3D calculation engine. So, of course, all the calculation results will remain the same as you have been using for NAPA loading computer. But now NAPA Stability is also available for the shoreside staff on the NAPA Fleet Intelligence cloud solution. NAPA Stability is really something where we put a lot of emphasizing, especially for developing a solution for this day, but also for the future. So we are offering now the best technology that we have in use, but also this change going into NAPA Stability will enable that we can develop also different kind of functions for future needs. Also, it is important to acknowledge that the rules and regulations in this area are becoming stricter all the time, and therefore we will have to support them now and in the future. But also something which wasn't probably discussed that much 10 years ago is all the cybersecurity requirements. And this is something where we put also a lot of emphasis. Then also, when discussing with our customers, this concept of situational awareness is becoming more and more important, especially, of course, in potential emergency operation situations at sea, but also for managing the day-to-day stability of the fleet. Now, NAPA Stability is rolling out, and before actually the whole rollout started, so we have been dedicating a lot of resources and time for the development, and the development has been going on together with the users. There has been extensive testing and feedback sessions with over 200 officers. The launch was in September of this year, taking place at the Sea Trade Cruise event in Miami. The first installation was already done last month, and the first new building installations will be starting on the second quarter of next year. And now starts a transition period where NAPA loading computer will be replaced with NAPA Stability on the passenger ships. Now, this is just a short introduction about NAPA Stability, but I think now it's quite important that we go really onto the product. So the rest of the webinar will be dedicated now to real demonstrations, which will be done by Harri and Mikko, and Harri is going to start now. So please, Harri, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Jussi. Let's start by go through this new NAPA Stability user interface. So here, how it's look like. So let's start by going through the layout a little bit. So here we have, of course, the graphics areas. Then we have tanks, tank area here visible, and is this setup now? And you can control this graphical user areas by this screen split functionality here. So you can select either 1, 2 views, 3, or even 4 views. So if I activate this 4 view option here, then you can see these more graphical areas at the same time. So, and here we can control also the cross-section view by tracking this bar in the profile. And if you want to change some information here or want to see it in a different order, you can select here from the pull-down menu that what kind of a view you would like to operate. So for example, I can have a DEX view here next to the profile if I wish. So like this, it works. And then you can drag this bar here. And of course, you can control the size of these graphic areas by dragging the bars here as you wish, like this. And then we also have a 3D view here visible, so you can zoom in, zoom out, and also turn it around in this section here, like this. Okay, that's how you can control the graphic areas. You can also add some more information here in the profile view, like the bending moment. If you click this, just a second, just activate it a little bit like this. So if you want to see the bending moment curves in the profile view, you can turn these off, shearing force, weight and buoyancy, like this. And then what else we have in the graphics areas here? We have function buttons and tools here in the left-hand side. Then on the bottom bar, we have this basically the same information as in the NAPA loading computer. So you have a floating position visible, seawater density, which you can adjust, heel value, trim values, calculated deflection. Then we have information about weights like dead weight, unknown dead weight, and displacement. Then we have stability related values here, GM required, GM correction, and finally longitudinal strength here in the right hand corner. Right, then what's on the top? We have life conditions, and then we have this plan concept, which is totally new in this NAPA Stability solution. So the idea here is that you are in live conditions, you are continuously connected to the automation system, so you are obtaining the values from as in a live situation on board. And if you want to plan your voyage beforehand, you can click this button, create a new plan, where you can paste your plan on the live condition. So this is a snapshot of your loading condition, or you can open up the saved plan, export the loading condition, or take a look the test loading conditions, which are created based on the stability booklet information for the classification purposes. So this is a new concept here in the NAPA Stability solution. And if you are operating with the saved plan, or you are working on that, this live condition is operated continuously in the background. So if there will be a problem with stability or strength, so if you are exceeding the limits, then this tab will start flashing here, so to indicating that you have a problem which you should address immediately. So that's the concept here between the live conditions and plans. All right, let's move on then with this so-called daily operations tab. So here you have tanks visible. Then we have a tab for dry spaces. So these are now separated. So in the tanks view, you can only select each tank group visible here in the list. So dry spaces are now separated from this list, which is a different kind of a solution than in NAPA loading computer. Then we have a mass load tab, doors and escapes, which is also a new concept based on the type 4 loading computer. And then damages tab here, where you can create arbitrary damage cases for your loading condition. Okay, let's start going through these tanks a little bit in more detail. So we have now heavy fuel oil group here. So here you can change the tank group, for example, for the ballast tanks. I go back to the fuel oil tanks, and here in the live condition section, it's expected that you are getting the real inputs from the automation system all the time. So basically, you cannot operate the tanks manually unless the sensors are set to faulty status. So then you can input your values. But if I want to demonstrate how it works, I can open up the saved plan. For example, this departure condition here. And now I can show you how you can actually operate with the tanks. So if I select these heavy fuel oil tanks, then you can start creating your plan. So by just inputting some values here, and all the stability information is calculated at once. And as you see, when I activated a tank here, then this so-called compartment card is opened up here in the bottom. So here you can see the detailed information about that selected tank here. So there is some information about the location of the tank and also the basic parameters for it, like a filling percentage, free surface moment, GM corrections, and so on. And you can also see the 3D view here, and you can track it around here, and also zoom in, zoom out, as in the 3D ship view. And here you can also use this bar for loading purposes, so you can change the load here by tracking this bar. And here you can see the totals in the middle. So totals for the selected tank, and then the totals for the heavy fuel oil group. So if you track this, you can see that the values will change here, like that. All right. And then I'm going back to the live conditions. And here I can show you the one new tool that we have implemented in the software. So if I'm selecting here, let's say a couple of heavy fuel oil tanks like this, and then I right click with the mouse, select monitor, then this kind of a tool called content monitor will open up. And here you can, for example, if you are doing some bunkering operations, you can monitor the selected tanks, so that there is no limitation. So basically you can add as many tanks here as you like. And now the software start recording the content change in the tanks. Here you can see the time logged now. So now the tracking interval is 30 seconds. So you can control that. Like for example, setting it to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And here in below, you can see the graphical expression about that content change also. So in real condition, now when the level would change in the tank, you could see it quite easily here in the graphical area, that how the situation will develop. You can naturally add so-called dry compartments here, so the void spaces, if you have a flooding situation, that can be also monitored by using this content monitor tool. And you can also remove tanks here, select here the new tanks and just select monitor here, and now the new tank is added here in the list. So very convenient tool in some particular bunkering cases, or even in monitoring the flooding situation, if that kind of will occur. Okay, that's about the content monitoring tool. So I will shut it down, and let's move on the tabs then. So if I click here, the dry spaces, as I mentioned, these dry spaces, void spaces, and superstructure compartments are now separated from the tanks. So here you can see the so-called firefighting water compartments, which are located in the superstructure, and you can actually select here in this function that you can see the all spaces, or only the flood spaces which are located in the damage hull, or the fire water which is in the superstructure. And here you can take a look at the 3D model like that. And here are the deck section also visible. Okay, let's move on to the mass loads. So I will again move to the planning side. Take a look at these mass loads here. So we have the same concept basically as in the loading computer. So there is a possibility to create new custom groups here. In this case, we now have this standard selection here available. So in the draft survey part, you have now the unknown deadweight. So if you have used the draft survey, the calculated result can be seen here in this section. Then we have official mass loads created by the stability booklet information. So these cannot be, these mass loads items cannot be deleted from the loading condition, but you can view those and of course change the weight if that's necessary. And then we have a passengers and crew in this section here. So these are now also separated from the official mass load groups for the better and clear view of these items. So actually I will go back to the live situation where you can see a little bit more mass load items. And here on top, you can control, for example, the number of passengers and crew. So here, if I input, let's say 950 passengers, then you can see the the result here in the passenger and crew section. So you don't need to actually open up the mass load tab, but you can directly enter the value here in the top bar. So that's probably the thing that you need to do anyway before every departure condition, for example. And how to control then the weight, or how to operate these masses. So here you can see this log icon. So if I click that, you can see that now you can edit these values here. So you can change the location, you can delete the item in the table, or you can set the status here on off. So for example, this weight, if I change it a little bit, let's say it's 100 tons, you can see that that this is now not enabled. So you can see the total calculated weight. So if I click here the on button, so now it's taken into account in the loading condition, and this total calculated mass load weight updates here, and of course this dead weight displacement items will follow that selection. And you can add easily a new custom group here, or you can delete the items very easily here. And then when you have finished the operating with the mass loads, you can click this lock button again there, and so just to prevent the accidental input in these sections. Okay, that was shortly about the mass loads. Then what else we have here? We have doors and escapes. We have two sections here. We have a watertight doors, and then we have an escape route points below here. So according to new type 4 loading computer rules, there has to be a function to monitor these watertight door statuses and give a user information about the statuses. So for example, if you are in the sea and doors are open and you are actually playing around with the damage module, then there needs to be an information about the open watertight door status, so that all the necessary damage scenarios will be calculated in case there will be an accident. So we can either get the door statuses from the automation system, so that can be a so-called online link to that, so you can automatically see the status here, or you can operate this in a so-called manual mode, so you can change the status here, for example, for this closed door to open, like that. And then if you do that, then the line will be highlighted here, like this. So that's about the watertight doors. Then escape route points. These are used when you are doing the damage condition, and you will calculate the final equilibrium. The immersion angles for the escape route points can be seen here, and also the status. Is this escape route located in the opposite side or below the waterline, or one of these statuses can be seen here. So can you basically use this escape route or not? All right. Then finally, the damage tab. And now there's two functions. If you are creating a damage condition in the live side, it will be considered as a real damage. So it means that you are actually simulating the real condition where you can get the live information from, for example, from the flooding sensors simultaneously. So you can create your own damage condition, and the ship will monitor the status automatically, taking into account all the tank content change and flooding sensor statuses into account in that damage condition. If you are operating in the planning side, then the damages are considered as a test, so-called test condition. So for the trial purposes, damage trials and these kind of situations. So now I'm operating in this departure planning condition and try to simulate, for example, one damage condition. So here you can click the watertight compartment. So for example, this C16 and C15. And then the compartments included in these watertight zones can be seen here in the list. So for example, this main engine room number 1. So if I now select that and change the status here, open to sea, then the software tells me that, okay, this is now simulated damage condition. And I can click this button here to simulate the damage. So now the compartment is set open to sea. And this bar here on top tells me that, okay, damage stability compliance must be verified. So if I click the button here, then we will carry out the damage stability calculation. And here you can see the compartment, which is marked as a open to sea stage. So this is the result now. So if you want to take a look, the damage stability criteria, we can click this stability and strength button here in the left-hand side. So here you can see the ZZ curve and the damage stability criteria calculation results. And if you can also control the size of it like this. So if you want to take a closer look, for example, to the GZ curve, and if you move around here, you can see the calculated values in different healing angles. So for the GZ area and the moment. Okay, let's close this down. So that was shortly about the damage stability calculation options. So I will set this back to the intact mode. And that's about the tabs, what we can operate here. So let's go back to the tanks. And what else we have here in the left-hand side? So we have a print reports button, excuse me. We have implemented at this point 5 kind of reports. So we have a loading summary, stability report, tank report, and longitudinal strength report, which are basically needed for the classification purposes as well. This IMO weather report is also connected to the stability report, so you can take a closer look about the calculation results for this IMO weather criterion. And stability report, I have one example here. So this is how it looks like. So we have a GZ curve visible, then the healing angles and corresponding parameters shown like that. And then we have stability criteria available on the bottom. So this was shortly about the reports and how they look like. Then we have a hydrostatics tool here, so you can easily see the key values for the longitudinal center of gravities, flotation, buoyancy, and then the center of gravity for lightweight, deadweight, and displacement in very easy way. Then we also have a moment to change the trim here and tons per 1 centimeter immersion available. Then in the second tab here in the hydrostatics, we have a floating position. So this enables you the easy comparison, for example, between the extreme and the molded drafts. So you don't have to change any setting here to see these values here in the below, which was previously available in the NAPA loading computer. Then if we would have a sensory information from draft sensory information available, then we could see that here directly as well. So very easy to compare the sensory information for the calculated information, for example. So that's about the floating position, and then we finally have an effect of wind also available, so you can enter the wind speed here, for example 20 meters per second, and then you can see the estimated heel, constant heel calculated based on that input. Also wind speed in knots or Beauforts, and effect of wind in GZ curve, so on. So that's about the hydrostatics and what functions we have there. Then we save plan button, it is connected to this plan concept. So if you have created a condition of your own, then you can click this button and save it for the further use or the future use. And then finally you can export the plan. Basically the loading condition information can be then transferred to some other NAPA stability solution or for emergency response service, for example. Okay, that was it. Basically now we have gone through basically all the basic functions that we have in this new NAPA stability solution. So then I will give the floor to Jussi.
Yes, thank you, Harri. We have already a couple of questions which have been coming to the chat. Please keep them coming and we will address those at the end of the webinar. So now it's time for Mikko to show us how to use the stability information in NAPA Fleet Intelligence cloud solution.
Thank you, Jussi. With NAPA Stability, we also are proud to release 2 web applications, web tools, considering especially the stability matters. NAPA has been for quite some time, years already, developing NAPA Fleet Intelligence, our cloud platform. And recently we have added 2 new components. And one, here what you see is called emergency module. Emergency module is a part of a subscription for NAPA Stability. It is intended for flooding emergencies. It provides practically a real-time display of the same information what the NAPA Stability is showing on board. We see here, based on the AIS data, we see the destination, ETAs, We have a map showing the location, but we also have the latitude, longitudinal, speed, and course visible here. We see the key stability values, heel, trim, draft, and GM. And also, of course, the flooding information. How many watertight compartments are flooded, how many watertight doors are open, and how much water there is inside the ship. And if the ship is equipped with NAPA emergency computer, we also provide survivability and vulnerability values. This module is especially focused for the flooding emergency. So that's why we have we show both. So the floating position based on the draft sensors and the floating position based on the NAPA loading computer, as there might be some differences in case of flooding. We show the KPIs for stability and strength. And we also show the location of breach. And this is shown if the ship is equipped with NAPA emergency computer. NAPA emergency computer is able to do automatic detection of flooding and the source of the flooding, and we can list it here to everybody to view. And we'll show the open watertight doors. And if there would be a water inside the ship, we would list the dry spaces, dry space rooms under the flooded compartments. For tanks, one can see the totals, but also drill down to a single tank if it's necessary. Especially in some damage cases, oil outflow is very interesting to see from the environmental perspective, not only from the stability perspective. Let's see our second ship, NAPA High Seas. NAPA High Seas has, of course, the same information availability, but in here we have a prediction and survivability. These NAPA emergency computer values. In case of damage on board, NAPA emergency computer will calculate flooding prediction, and the flooding prediction results are visible to the shore personnel as well. We see what is going to happen in 30 minutes. We see how much flood water there is predicted and to what watertight compartments the flood will reach. In this case, it's a very minimal flooding, and as you can see that there is practically no progressive flooding happening. We can see that the breach has been estimated as small on the port side, and it's automatically deducted based on the flooding information. Of course, not any one of us wishes to be in case of flooding emergency. But in case of flooding emergency, it is vital that the information is transparent. It's visible to the shore personnel providing the assistance for the ship. The same information can be utilized also for intact ship. In case we have a tool called Stability Monitor. This is a tool where you can monitor the whole fleet in a single view. We highlight automatically the issues, for example, the vulnerability. There are some watertight door issues, draft mismatches, and in the NAPA High Seas we saw the flooding. This tool enables one to drill down to even deeper level. Let's take a look at this NAPA Grace. We see that the GM limit has been highlighted, and indeed it is missing there. And we can see here that the trim, being 0.8 meters, is outside of the trim curves. So one is not able to calculate the correct GM limit value anymore. And we show histories here also, like bending moment, shear forces. It's 48-hour history. We show safety values here. The vulnerability, again, 48-hour history is visible here. We can see decks here. The deck layouts are visible, of course, mass loads, tanks. We have 48-hour history for the tanks. Let's click it over here. And we can see single tank values, how they have evolved during the past 2 days. We have the summaries here on the upper part for the fuel, ballast, healing water, fresh water, and grey water, giving an overall view of what is the situation at the moment. And then one can check different groups, like a treated wastewater, separately. Especially good for monitoring the situations, what is happening and what has happened, what has led to the current situation. We have some stability booklet information, often asked. It's also visible here. And the whole idea is that we provide transparent view on the situation, what is visible on NAPA Stability and then the loading computer. We automatically tag the issues. No need to watch anymore the screen of the loading computer, but it's all here highlighted and for the whole fleet. And together with NAPA Stability, this should enable better co-working with the shoreside personnel and the onboard personnel. Thank you, Jussi. This is all.
Thank you, Mikko. And now we still have time for some questions and answers to you. So we have got a few questions, which I will be now looking at my screen. So first of all, there was a couple of general questions about NAPA Stability and if NAPA Stability is phasing out NAPA loading computer. So these are questions I will be able to answer. So right now we are starting a transition phase where we are focusing especially on passenger ship and in passenger ships, especially on cruise ships, where for new installation and then update of current installations, we are providing now NAPA Stability. Then there was a questions about is NAPA Stability available for RoRos and RoPax? So this is an area which hopefully we will be able to enter next year. And but however, the current version that we have with NAPA Stability is not yet available for those type of ships. Then for any other type of ships outside the passenger ships, so NAPA Stability is not available for those ships at least yet. So NAPA Stability now purely focuses on the passenger ships. Then we have a question about is it possible to split screens so that I will get one screen with the graphics and then one screen with the tank data. Harri, you have observed quite a lot of loading computer installations on board. Could you answer a little bit on that question?
Yes, unfortunately, we don't have that kind of option available at this point. So, of course, as you told, this is a new product, so we are currently heavily developing it further still. So all this kind of feedback is, of course, very useful for us in the future to evaluate the possibilities what we can do in the next coming steps. So unfortunately, this specific functionality is not yet available.
I also think that it will be great to have two screens for just the loading and stability management, but the screens on the bridge are a bit short of, so we really have to manage everything on one screen currently. Then we have a question about, and I think this is for Harri as well. Is it possible to get the crew and passenger input in the top bar when working outside of the live conditions? So in those planning conditions.
Not at the moment, but we can of course input the number of passengers and crew in the planning side in the table directly. So the idea here was that it's easier for the user in live conditions just to input the values in the top bar, and for not going into the details of the mass loads. So that's the current implementation at the moment. So as I said earlier, we can of course evaluate any kind of possibilities in the future.
Then there is a good question about the monitors. Can we support bigger monitors, like for example 50-inch monitors? Have we done any testing on that?
We haven't actually carried out any testing, but I don't see any problem of using these very big screens as well. So should be possible, of course.
Then there is another question about the hardware systems, and this is probably something that either Harri or Mikko can answer. That is there any consideration on using the software in the current and older hardware systems? So what do we really need in terms of hardware from when using NAPA Stability? Mikko, if you have some answers on that.
Yes, there is a very little requirements for the hardware on technical side. Generally, we recommend that the hardware is changed in every 3 years. And as such, I would assume that the hardware is and should be quite up to date.
Thank you, Mikko. And in some conditions, so also let's remember that the hardware has to be class approved, but we will not go into those rules and regulation details right now. There is a question in regards to damage conditions. So is it possible to have before and after graphs of the GZ in the same screen? So to compare the GZ curves?
Yes, very good question. Unfortunately, we cannot have the GZ curves in the same graph, but this new NAPA Stability, of course, offers the possibility to create any kind of a damage condition simultaneously. So basically, you can have different plans, so to speak, expressing the different kind of damage conditions. So it's possible in that way to compare the results. So you can have a condition before, and you can have a so-called in that condition, and then you can have a damage condition and compare the results by just clicking the different tabs. So that is possible, but unfortunately not in the same picture or the same graph. So that's not available at the moment.
Then there is questions about a very valid issue. It's how is cybersecurity taken into consideration now in this case that we have a cloud-based solution? Mikko, could you answer on that one?
Yes, certainly. We all know that the cybersecurity is now a hot topic, and the requirements are there and constantly rising. And we are very proud to say that we follow the latest rules and regulations All the data is encrypted while in transit, and we also encrypt the ship data while we store it. All the way it's encrypted with the latest algorithm. So I'm quite sure that your IT will be happy to hear about this.
Thank you very much for those questions. We have gone now through all the questions, and I would like to thank Harri and Mikko for those excellent demonstrations. If you would have any questions later on, so please don't hesitate to contact myself personally at jussi.siltanen@napa.fi or our sales address, sales@napa.fi. The webinar has been recorded and it will be available later for you on the napa.fi web page. So again, thank you very much for participating. And really, I wish to all you a very good November month over there. Thank you. Goodbye.